competition is watching, and they'll surely notice any shortcomings that you may have, and any cut corners sometimes are asking for someone else to come in and just say, hey, they missed the boat, I'll do it right. Okay? Number 4, always build one up in your market. If you're coming into a marketplace with washes already, then you can't play on the same playing field. You need to step up the game, and duplicating what's already there, you're going to end up losing against existing car washes that typically may have no debt or an existing customer base. Number 5, embrace barriers to entry. Okay, they're painful up front, and we all know that, but you can reap the rewards forever. All right, just so applies easy come, easy go, more pain, more gain. So things like city approvals, high land costs, restrictions, and limitations, that's all going to be good stuff for you in the long term. It means that your competition is going to have a higher barrier to entry. And lastly, number 6, get to know your customers and build a loyal following. A quality product and service at a fair price, can't be beat when you have those loyal raving fans. Let's talk about the enemy other than competition is depreciation in the car wash. Every day is a battle and a constant battle against depreciation. We believe in building the equipment out of stainless steel. We think that reduces the cost of depreciation. Part of reducing that is by having a second-hand market for car wash equipment by creating resale value to the equipment. All right, a typical car wash can expect to have as much as 84 cents per car in equipment depreciation or total depreciation. All right, so this business model, we believe, is tricky, and it's very similar to like a jet for where you have to pay half for the fuel now, and then you got to put half the money in the kitty for the engine rebuild later. Very similar to a car wash. Because we're providing a service, we're selling wear and tear on our equipment. This cost analysis graph, based on real data, shows the total pie here of income revenue coming into the facility. The green is your leftover revenue to apply toward your overhead. The red pie, 11% there, is a typical variable cost, which is immediate you're going to pay for. Chemicals, electricity, natural gas, water. The purple 10% right there is what we believe is a pretty typical future costs you're going to incur to have to get your facility back to where it once was. That's repair and maintenance costs, that's labor, maintenance teams, and in 15 years, 20 years, whatever it might be, when you're going to have to overhaul all your equipment, replace it. We can reduce that by having that second-hand market and being able to resell that equipment. We've successfully done that and very much cut the cost of this depreciation. This is based on some typical average numbers, okay? And the stainless steel, again, for longevity and long-term savings. The other side of long-term sustainability is building a wash for a changing world, preparing for environmental impacts, which of course you all know is increasing water costs, increasing electricity. So we're trying to combat some of that stuff. The building you see here is LEED certifiable. LEED has to be done on a case-by-case, site-by-site basis. The roof system, again, reduces the usage for lighting. We utilize some heat gain in the winter through that roof system, and then we use vents to produce cooling there in the summer, to keeping it somewhat of a, it's pretty much an unoccupied environment, so we don't have to do a whole lot of heating and cooling there. It's also factory painted and shipped to the facility. That earns you points with LEED and some of those green things that maybe you can use going through city planning to get yourself some points. Also, a rainwater collection system is optional, built into the facility. Here's a look at the exit and night shot of a tunnel called The Tunnel Car Wash in Kansas. Beautiful end, that's what faces the street there. Let's move on to factor 5, building a cost-appropriate development to maximize your return on investment. First, let's look at what does it cost to build a car wash. We believe that for what operators are getting for the average car wash, that they're paying too much or not getting enough. So these costs are too high. The average total cost for an exterior express car wash in 2011 was just under $2.5 million. And a full-service car wash was upwards of $5.5 million. That's including the land. That breaks down like this, full service, majority of it in building and site work, of course, larger buildings and larger land requirements, as well as in an exterior there, a lot of it in building and site work, and the equipment and the land cost you see there. So section 1 is building a cost-appropriate development, means selecting the right site model for both your personal needs as well as the needs for your property and for your community. So the first model we'll talk about here is the Express model. It's an exterior-only car wash, which operates with low labor. Customers vacuum themselves. This typically can be done with about 2 team members to run the facility, and we can wash cars as upwards of 180 cars per hour, and that typically will fit on about 1 acre piece of land. Another look at the Express exterior model there. A flex service model incorporates an express wash with an optional interior cleaning system. There's a little bit more labor, a little bit more investment up front. The process is done in the interior typically with a people mover belt conveyor system that moves like an assembly line that optimizes your labor usage. The model, again, costs a little bit more up front, but you're going to get diversified returns and greater returns ongoing. There's another picture of that facility in Louisiana. This is the Tommy building model of the modular FlexServe facility, which we're building one of for ourselves right now in Michigan. The third model is a gas station and convenience store combination model, which is also what we utilize and own ourselves in Michigan. This design integrates those 3 profit centers. It still uses the flight deck system, and we operate, this facility here operates, they're running this actually with 2 people. Typically we have 3 people running that whole facility, the gas station and the wash, and we tie it all together and integrate them very nicely, and the team members are responsible for both profit centers. In addition to that, you know, the high traffic flow of gas also feeds the car wash. We believe by as much as 30% that they're going to feed each other. The fourth model we call the Mini. This is a exterior only car wash that fits on about a ½ acre of property and could potentially be run unattended in the proper environment, such as next door to a gas station. Everything about this facility is smaller: the height, the width, the length, and of course the cost. You're still capable, of course, in a model like this, washing 80 cars per hour. So choosing the right model is the first step for your personal goals as well as the needs of your marketplace to make sure that you build a cost-appropriate development. So next, let's talk about some ROI principles and the rewards of getting all this right. A couple of numbers we'll throw out here that we believe can be produced. The target outcome we think for most investors is a faster return on your investment, of course, and a higher net income ongoing. Now, let's not forget that it also costs a little bit more to do some of this stuff we're talking about and really building this one-up model. The payoff of these factors is through higher volume, okay, first, which creates higher capture rate, or because of the higher capture rate, we're going to get higher volume, as well as the increased loyalty and frequency of customers coming through. A higher average ticket, again, by adding more value for the customer, we're going to be able to get that higher ticket. We're giving them a little bit more of a show, a little bit more entertainment value. Protection and security of doing it right. Again, you're going to protect yourself from competition. Lower operating costs, that comes through optimization of the chemistry, the equipment, the functions, the timing, the flight deck model, reducing labor. So the investment principles behind this whole thing is that it would cost you less investment than what it would cost to duplicate this style system. That's because it's modular construction. It's all been sort of pre-engineered there. So we're getting more value for the money. The ROI has been evaluated on a line-by-line basis. We'll talk about that in a second. And then, of course, ongoing, a stronger bottom line and a faster payback through that, we believe. And, of course, at the end of the day, the most important thing for you is to have an easy operation and a better lifestyle. That's why we all do this. So this is just some numbers to illustrate those principles, what might cost you a higher investment up front by reducing that operating cost, creating better capture rate. These are, plugging in some theoretical numbers versus the average investment, how we can actually risk a little bit more up front. We'll talk about that detail in a second. Therefore, you'll be able to pay off your facility sooner and have a higher net income ongoing. So digging deeper into that, let's talk about it on a line-by-line basis. So some of these items that cost more up front but are going to save you ongoing, we call wins, okay? And then there's items that are going to cost you less up front and they're going to save you money ongoing. We call that a win-win. All right, so We'll go into a couple of examples of that. VFDs, for example. Many people in the industry will tell you that a VFD is probably a good investment. It might have around a 5-year payback on your electrical costs, so we call that a win. It makes sense. Anything we believe under 10-year return on investment is probably a good investment, and that's an investment you should make, even if you have to shell out a little bit more money up front. So a VFD is going to cost you a little more, maybe $20,000, but it's going to save you a 5-year payback maybe, and therefore it's a good investment to make, and that's illustrated here in the graph. A tower is another example. It's going to cost you maybe $70,000 to $100,000 to add on that tower feature. So costing more, but through increased capture rate, we're going to increase our volume, and it's going to pay back that tower, we believe, less than 10 years, which makes it a no-brainer investment to add on. The scale, again, going to cost you more to build a little bit more substantial and bigger. That investment should have a return through higher capture rate and produce a win. Items like the pod, we believe, can cost less up front. We're saving on the back room wall. That doesn't have to be built. We're saving some installation time and by having a little bit more plug and play. So we think we can get that, where the cost is less up front than traditional, and it's going to save you money ongoing. Another example, the modular building, we believe, is a win-win that can cost you less than it would cost to duplicate in a brick and mortar setup, and therefore also generate that increased capture rate ongoing. And something like the onboard vacuums might be a situation of a lower cost up front and saving money ongoing. So we've evaluated all that ROI. We've not put in anything that's not necessary, got rid of all that waste, and created, we think, the perfect facility. So let's talk about re-imaging. We'll show you here a little bit on McDonald's and what they're doing. We have to ask that question, is it worth it to spend a little extra and do all this flair and show? McDonald's is proving that. They spent about $550,000 for a store renovation, and a ground-up tear down and rebuild is about $1 to $1.2 million, plus about $700,000 to $900,000 in new equipment to go in there and overhaul that McDonald's. They're seeing about a 6 to 7% increase after year one, and overall a 15% increase ahead of the market pace and their competition ongoing by re-imaging and tearing those things down, rebuilding them, and getting that look, and therefore, of course, a nice return on investment. The bottom line. Let's compare for a minute and contrast what we've talked about with the average car wash in your town. Today, that typically has some elementary design mistakes, oftentimes wouldn't have cost more to utilize some of these things to enhance the value. Typically, they lack substance in their scale, oftentimes making them vulnerable to competition. The product is a bit of a less value to the customer without having that experience. Many common express washes today are built on a short-term mentality, a little bit too much cutting up front, and we'll pay it back long-term. So in the last several years, many new investors have found themselves on the wrong side of what is a great business by leaving the industry with a little bit of a high failure rate. So we're trying to combat that. Much of the programs you see here are built to reduce your risk and ensure your success, and many times without costing you more up front. So that's an awful statistic, hate to read, but 62% chance of failing on a business within 6 years if it's not backed by a franchise or a proven success program. We're trying to change that for our industry. To understand how to capture more customers, you have to know what influences them in their buying purchase. Based on the International Car Wash Association's research and statistics, you see here the most powerful tool to get customers in is a discount coupon. This, of course, is within your control as a car wash operator, and you can do in any facility, and your customers can do as well. The second there is the most important variable that, second most important variable that inspires a visit to the car wash is a special occasion, which of course is out of your control completely and out of your competitor's control, and that's just there for the customer. But the third, of course, is completely in your control. The third most powerful variable to bring in customers to your facility is the appearance of the car wash. It's based on the International Car Wash Association study of consumer habits. Let's talk for a minute about global rollout strategy for this concept and how we believe we can help you guys take this principles nationwide. Let me ask you for a minute, who's interested in building a fast food chain today, or a cell phone carrier, or who wants to start manufacturing MP3 players? Probably nobody, right? Those markets are in the final stages of commoditization. Based on some research of the life cycles of industries, we believe that the car wash industry is right about here. We're at a beautiful stage in our industry right now, and you can go look this up yourself and verify some of the traits we're seeing. We believe that's a huge opportunity on our horizon. Our strategy for rollout is to partner with car wash investors and operators like yourselves to assist them with building small regional chain developments. To do so, we offer an exclusive development territories and for these chains. There's also a financial reward to building these sort of small regional developments, is that by building multiple sites in an area, you're helping all your facilities work together, and you'll have better numbers by building a small group. It also allows you to divide some maintenance costs and such among multiple sites. So currently this is a map of the United States, and about 27% of it locked down for exclusive developments of this program. The system provides you the tools to be a successful car wash, but it's also about personalization. It's all about you and your look. So you see here a couple examples of taking this concept and principles and custom tailoring it to your needs, as well utilizing that pre-engineered structure and building your brand in a local area. It also gives you that ability to have a consistently replicated design, and that gives your business more value in the end for an exit strategy. You can select your colors, select your designs and finishings, and those are all examples of the same facility we've seen here today, personalized, and your name, your logo on the top. Let's talk about execution. Let's review. Number one, appeal to all and design to captivate your customers. Second is to ensure perfection in the design, to have a smooth operation and get it right the first time. Number three is produce clean, shiny, dry cars that can exceed your customers' expectations. Success factor four, ensure a long-term strategy that has staying power. And lastly, to build a cost-appropriate development so you can conquer ROI. To explain the power of this program through the eyes of others, I'll share with you a few true stories. One car wash developer built a totally Tommy wash in one city, and a neighboring city that was in need of a car wash offered him free land, city land, to build another one in their town. A city in Illinois initially denied a car wash to be built, but later they gave the verbal approval if the car wash was one of those newer style ones as seen on the Tommy Car Wash website. Triple Play Express in Tulsa is currently under development for their second facility and with plans to do more. Given some strict city requirements, we're typically able to overcome those city requirements with this facility, and many times welcomed by city planners. Sometimes they say, oh, a car wash, eesh. Well, when we show them pictures, a lot of times they'll light up. We can also do that colors and textures tailoring to their needs. And oftentimes they're faultless, and we have some of those green features incorporated in there. And one city council referred to the project as a work of art and, of course, gave the approval. Thanks for listening, and please get in touch with a Tommy sales rep. We'll help you with your project, and we'll take a satellite image of your property, and we'll take the Tommy facility and drop it on there and show you what it's going to look like and let it come to life. Walk around the property and the facility and see your investment in the future of your car wash. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.